Backrooms is more than a movie about getting trapped in a strange place. It's about people trying to escape pain, guilt, and failure. The backrooms are frightening because they copy the real world but never get it right. Every room, object, and person feels familiar, yet something is always wrong. The film asks whether the biggest danger is the monsters inside the backrooms or the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. The film begins with Async researchers reviewing recovered footage from Narain Warren, who became separated from his team inside the backrooms. As he searches for an exit, he's hunted by a tall humanoid creature before being killed. This opening immediately establishes the backrooms as a place that can't be understood through normal science. Even trained researchers become lost inside it. Narain represents human curiosity. He enters the unknown believing it can be explored and explained, but the backrooms prove that not everything can be controlled. The recovered footage also reminds us that every person who enters leaves behind only fragments of their story. We then shift to Clark, a furniture store owner whose personal life is falling apart. His marriage has ended, he struggles with alcoholism, and his business is failing. At the same time, Mary works as his therapist while carrying emotional wounds from her own childhood. Clark notices strange electrical problems throughout the store. An electrician discovers 3 mysterious breaker switches that don't belong there. Clark's life is already unstable before he ever enters the backrooms. The supernatural events don't create his problems, they expose them. The flickering lights suggest that reality itself is becoming unstable. It's also a symbol of Clark's mental state. His life constantly shifts between hope and despair, just like the lights switching on and off. Mary's own trauma shows that everyone carries emotional baggage. Unlike Clark, however, she has chosen to face hers instead of hiding from it. Clark discovers a slit hidden inside the basement wall and passes through it. Inside, he finds endless hallways, strange rooms, and furniture that almost looks normal. He also discovers Narain's belongings before narrowly escaping an unseen creature. The furniture connects directly to Clark's profession. His entire life has been built around creating comfortable homes, but inside the backrooms, those homes become empty and disturbing. The rooms look familiar because the backrooms imitate reality, but every copy is incomplete. This reflects how memories become distorted over time. We remember places, but not perfectly. When Mary responds carefully instead of immediately believing him, Clark feels betrayed. He brings Kat and Bobby into the backrooms to film evidence. Their investigation quickly turns deadly. Bobby is attacked while being lowered down a steep corridor. Clark and Kat are dragged deeper inside, where Clark becomes separated while strange humanoid creatures hunt him. Meanwhile, an async scientist named Phil secretly watches everything through surveillance. Clark's need to prove himself becomes more important than protecting the people around him. His search for validation costs Bobby his life. The camera becomes an important symbol. Clark believes recording the backrooms will make people believe him, but the footage never protects anyone. Instead, the camera only records tragedy. After receiving Clark's voicemail saying he's not coming back, Mary searches for him herself. She eventually finds Clark, but he has changed completely. Instead of asking for help, he attacks her and drags her into his strange new world. Mary enters because she genuinely wants to help someone else. Unlike Clark, her motivation is compassion rather than obsession. Clark's transformation shows what happens when someone completely gives in to the backrooms. Instead of escaping his problems, he has allowed the place to reshape who he is. Mary wakes up tied to a chair while Clark forces her to continue their therapy sessions through roleplay. Around them are still-life creatures, imperfect copies of humans. Clark reveals Kat's severed head and blames everyone else for his failures. Mary refuses to accept his excuses and tells him that his choices, not bad luck, destroyed his marriage. Eventually, Clark unties her after accepting that he still has freedom to choose. This is the emotional center of the movie. Clark has spent the entire film blaming his wife, his business, alcohol, and now the backrooms. Mary forces him to admit that he is responsible for his own actions. Clark's role-playing therapy shows his desire to recreate his old life without accepting the painful truth. He wants comfort without change. A larger still life appears, a twisted copy of Clark dressed as a pirate. Clark tries to calm it, almost treating it like another version of himself. Instead, the creature kills him. Mary escapes through several familiar-looking rooms before accidentally triggering a gas trap and being discovered by Async scientists. Pirate Clark is probably the strongest symbol in the movie. It represents everything Clark refused to confront. Throughout the film, he avoided responsibility, and the Backrooms eventually created a physical version of those flaws. Instead of defeating his darker self, Clark tries to comfort it. His inability to reject that version of himself ultimately leads to his death. The pirate costume may symbolize escapism. Clark would rather live in a fantasy than accept the mistakes that led to his divorce and the collapse of his life. Mary wakes up inside Async headquarters. Phil explains that the company originally built MRI machines before discovering the Backrooms. Their mission became mapping the endless space. He also reveals that new entrances are appearing throughout the area. Async represents humanity's belief that everything can eventually be understood through science. However, even after years of research, they still know very little. The company has maps and technology, but they don't truly understand the Backrooms. As the film ends, rooms based on Mary's memories appear inside the Backrooms. A new still life of Mary forms, sitting inside a poorly copied interrogation room. Although Mary escaped physically, the Backrooms have already begun copying her. The ending suggests that nobody truly leaves the Backrooms unchanged. The place doesn't simply trap bodies, it absorbs memories, identities, and experiences. Mary's copy also reflects her greatest fear. Throughout the movie, she tried to understand other people's trauma while hiding her own. Now the Backrooms have turned her memories into another imperfect imitation. The copied interrogation room also reminds us that truth is never fully understood. Just as the room is incomplete, humanity's understanding of the Backrooms also remains incomplete. Backrooms uses horror to explore guilt, denial, trauma, and identity. The monsters are frightening, but they're not the real focus. The film spends more time asking why people become trapped than how they escape. Clark represents someone who avoids responsibility until it destroys him. Mary represents someone who chooses to face her past, even when it's painful. The Backrooms themselves act like a giant mirror, copying people's memories and emotions while twisting them into something unfamiliar. By the ending, the movie suggests that the greatest horror isn't being chased by monsters. It's seeing an imperfect version of yourself and realizing that it exists because of the horrible choices you've made. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.